sugar. Oh, honey, honey. You are my candy girl. And okay. What happened?
I really need to tell you something. It's been quite a week.
Okay, let me get my pillow.
I got to tell you about. Remember how I told you I was dating this guy?
Yeah, how's that going?
Well, it's not going anymore.
It's not going anymore?
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it.
Okay, well, I guess we are doing a Love Liaisons podcast, so let me look somewhat professional here.
Yeah. This is definitely an episode for our podcast because I think a lot of others have been through this.
Okay. No more honey, honey, sugar, sugar. So
no more honey.
All right. Well, welcome to Love Liaisons, the ultimate deep dive into the highs and lows and hilarities of modern relationships. I am Kathryn.
And I'm Marina, and we'll be your Love Liaisons. So pour yourself a nice glass of wine.
Or a hot cup of tea.
And let's dive in.
Okay, so tell me, Marina, what happened?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about breakups, heartbreaks, and uncoupling. But first, Kathryn, what are you drinking? What would you drink for something like this?
Well, I was playing my song, Honey, Honey, Sugar, Sugar, drinking my honey tea, and it just made me feel warm and cozy, but I'm so sorry to hear this. And what are you drinking?
Well, I've already poured myself literally a mug of Pinot Noir, and a lot of winemakers call Pinot Noir the heartbreak grape or the heartbreak wine because it's so difficult to get along with as a grape. So I'm just having a mug of this wine.
Okay, enjoy it. Well, so tell me. First, let's backtrack for a second.
Yeah.
So tell me again how you met this person and, how it was going, and then we'll get to the sad stuff.
Yeah, so I recently got broken up with, and I was dating who I thought was a wonderful man, and I met him on eHarmony. Very wholesome, right? And we matched and met. We talked a lot. He actually wrote a lot to me, and he was very I liked that he was very verbal. Like he was very literate, and he would write me things that were just so nice and kind and witty. And then we met in person, and we dated for like about a month and a half. And really after our first date, there was just like a lot of chemistry, and it was mutual. Like, he didn't do this whole 3-day rule. He texted me literally a half hour after our date ended, and we were on a date. We met out for drinks and a late dinner, and we ended up hanging out and walking on the beach till like midnight, and just talking like teenagers. And he texted me like right after saying like it was fire, and it just went on from there. So I was really, really shocked when he broke up with me over text message. And
what?
Yeah. It reminded me of that episode from Sex and the City where did you see that one?
Yes.
Yeah, where Carrie, she got broken up with by this writer who she called Berger, that was his last name, on a Post-it note. And she shows up to brunch with her girlfriends saying, with the actual Post-it note in hand that said something like, "Sorry, I just can't anymore, goodbye." And that was it. And,
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't get a Post-it note. I got a text message.
Well, what did the text message say? Let's start there.
Yeah, it pretty much said, "I'm sorry, Marina. I don't think that we're a good fit long term. I wish you the best. Goodbye." And like we were supposed to go to a show, and he couldn't go to it. He said he had family come into town, whatever. And nothing happened. We didn't have a fight. We didn't have a major disagreement. There was like no drama. We actually had plans like, for the end of the year, for the new year, to actually go to like a basketball game together because we're on opposing teams. I'm from LA, I'm a Lakers fan. He's from Boston, and unfortunately is a Celtics fan. I, I really can't. This is like our major disagreement is we have like opposing teams, but it's really not that big of a deal. Like we were actually joking about it and planning to go to an LA, versus Boston basketball game together. And just like out of nowhere, this dude sends me a text message breaking up with me. And that's it. Like no more communication, no phone call, refuses to answer a phone call or have a phone call, no closure. Like it's literally like the burger Post-it note from Sex and the City.
Oh my gosh, girl, like that's horrible. I mean, that's just so crazy. And I'll say this, but I feel like this guy deserves an Academy Award. I know you're going to say, no, everything was real, but who knows? Maybe he was dating other women or maybe just something triggered, but to not be able to get closure and to not tell someone, why, like whether it's, I'm not really feeling it or something you said, or, maybe realize maybe we're not a good fit long term, but just to leave someone in the dark and to not even have the decency to call on the phone. I mean, really, it should be getting together in person. It wasn't like you went on one date, you were together for a little while, and for him to just say this isn't working, bye, and basically block you. I mean, that's just rude, but at least you found out his true character now and you had great time together. But wow, so sorry. I mean, it's a lot of people are ghosting today, and it's really something that we need to dive into and find out why. What has changed throughout the years that makes this okay, that people don't have manners, don't have decency and respect? And it's really, really sad. I mean, what do you think, now I'm sure that day you were very upset, or that week, what have you, but now that you're looking back on this, what do you think you've taken from this?
I need to have another sip of wine. Yeah, honestly, I was devastated. I was heartbroken. And I think many of us have had our hearts broken. But, this isn't the first time somebody has broken up with me or I've broken up with other people. But like to just not know, like, what's the problem? We've talked about, both of us have kind of tried dating again. I've tried dating again. And, even previously, I went on some dates with somebody who, it was at a different stage in life. But we really, we had a nice time together. And he told me, this was like after the second or the third date, he actually told me, he said, I'm sorry I met somebody else and I'm really going to move forward with this person. I had a nice time with you, but like I've just, met someone else and I really want to move forward with them, that they may be a good fit for me. And that was totally fine. It didn't hurt my feelings because I understood, that guy was at a stage in his life where he was like moving towards retirement, and he actually wanted to like travel abroad, and he had a home abroad in South Africa. He wanted to move to Greece, and I still have a young son, so I'm some time away from all that. So that was totally understandable. I don't know, like there's other times where I've had somebody say to me like, hey, I'm getting back together with my ex. We've been talking. And this was actually, I have to tell this story because it was kind of funny. This was like years ago. I had met somebody salsa dancing, and he worked as like a lawyer for the military, kind of like that like Tom Cruise movie. What was it called? No. The one like A Few Good Men, I think it was.
That was a good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So it was like that was kind of, he was like a lawyer for the military, but he would talk to me all the time, text me all through the day. And he had told me he had, moved from the East Coast and blah, 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 broken up with somebody. And then, he told me, "Well, I'm sorry, we can't go on a date this weekend because this is the funny part." He said, "I've been talking with my ex and we're going to get back together and she's going to move back out here, but I'd still like for us to be friends." And I was just in my head at first, before being upset, I was thinking, "What do you mean you've been talking to her? You talk to me literally all day long. Like, when do you have time to talk to her?" But I had appreciated that he said exactly what was going on and he was honest about it. And that was it. So, like, I think from this experience, it really shook me because I have no idea. Like, I'm just left guessing, like, what was this guy's problem? I could take some guesses, but I don't know what the right answer is. So, it just leaves you confused.
Yeah, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. And I can totally relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this can relate to that, unfortunately, because I mean, I've had people now that I'm getting back dating all these things, which, I'm trying to just be positive about it because if you're not going to go in being positive, then wait. You don't want to start something on a negative mindset. You want to have a growth mindset, right? But I've had people literally say, "Hey, let's go out for tea. I love tea. I love to drink tea." And then nothing, no follow up. And they just ghost you. And maybe they don't think about it, or maybe they have other things going on, or they just said that to be nice. Who knows? But at the end of the day, like, I'm trying to understand. People, I'm trying to understand why you would do this, because I know I would never do that. I would at least say, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to meet with you maybe in a couple weeks." I would at least give that respect to the person. Is it just that they forget, or they're just not responsible people, or they're dealing with their own trauma? There could be a multitude of things, but the bottom line is, and I know this is easier said than done, is we only can control how we respond to it. So if we allow this to upset ourselves, then we will be upset, right? So we can't control anyone else, and you just have to be able to move on. I know it's easier said than done. Get right back out there, because there is going to be that person out there for you. I really, really believe that. And as we always say, loving yourself, like, being you, doing you is really the most important thing. And then everything will come from that. But I am so sorry that happened. And I just can't believe that someone would do that you've given your time. He's given you his time. I mean, he invested into this.
Oh, yeah.
And
He really invested.
I think you told me you even met his child.
His adult son. Yeah, this is the part that's, ridiculous. Like, I think my main problem, and people have told me this, is I'm a nice person, And you see all these, movies like How Stella Got Her Groove Back and everything, where you got women that, like, want to seek revenge. They want to put all this, take all the guy's stuff, throw it in the car, set the car on fire, go to Jamaica, find a 25-year-old hot Jamaican guy and, like, become his lover. Okay, so, I'm just too nice. Like, if I really did what I wanted to, I would go to this guy's house, take his Audi sports car for a joyride, and take his adult son with me and, like, go have sex with his adult son, because I'm at that age where I could date you or your daddy.
Marina, maybe we can cut this part out. I don't know, but I don't think that I would do that. But to each his own, and you do you, as I say, do you. But no. So, I mean, like I said, I'm sorry that this has happened, and I'm glad that you have your wine. But I guess what can we take from this, and what can we give to our listeners to help them overcome this? Because I'm sure some people are listening to this and laughing and crying at the same time, going, how can we grow from this? And how can we find men and women alike that are good? And I will say this, I was watching a show, I want to say it was Steve Harvey or one of those, Mel Robbins. They both give great advice. And it's not just the men, it's the women too. And I need to work on myself. We all do, right? But where men are being less of a gentleman, and I can define what I feel a gentleman is, and women are being less ladies. So I have women in my life that I know, and when I go out with them, they're cursing. And we all curse at some point in time. I mean, maybe there's some of us that have never cursed a word, and that's okay. But there are, but when a man is going out, a quality man is going out with someone, he's not going to want to listen to every other word being a curse word.
Yeah.
And all this negativity about how her ex-husband did this, this, this. And a woman doesn't want to hear a bunch of curse words coming out of a man's voice. So you're going to get what you put out. So if you're putting out that type of attitude where, you're talking about sex a lot and cursing, that's what you're going to get back. I say, do you, if that's you, but don't complain about the men that you're getting or the women that you're, what's the right word I'm looking for, that you're attracting. Mm-hmm. So if you want an intelligent person, be an intelligent person. If you want someone that's financially savvy, be financially savvy yourself. Obviously, there's some men out there that make a lot of money and they don't want a woman that works a lot because they want her to just be there and just focus on him. There's all kinds of different dynamics. All different kinds of different dynamics in relationships, and whatever works. But one of the things that I just recently listened to that really resonated with me was hearing that, and I forget who the person was, but hearing basically purpose. What is the reason when you get into a relationship? First, number one, we've got to be able to know who we are and where we're going. So I am on a couple dating apps, and whenever I see something on there that says relationship style, figuring out my relationship style, immediately I'm going to X. Doesn't matter what he looks like, what is the rest of his profile, because I'm thinking if you're still figuring this out, that's not for me. Could be for you, could be for the next person, but I'm wanting someone who's done the work, who knows if he wants a serious relationship, a casual, sexual relationship, friends with benefits, a partnership, companionship. If you're still trying to figure out who you are and what type of relationship you want, that's not going to be for me. I'm not looking for fun and games anymore. I'm not in my 20s, and that's just not personally what I'm looking for. Have you seen that before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Oftentimes you can check. What do you want? Do you want something casual? There was even a TV show called Casual that I was watching a couple of years ago that it was about a guy that developed his own dating app, and he made the algorithm so everybody would match with him. It was actually a really interesting show. It was called Casual. But yeah, I mean, you could pick, like, are you interested in casual? Are you interested in just friends? Are you interested in long term, or like an actual life partner? And I am interested in having a relationship, like a long-term relationship. So I do click that, and I look for people that check that as well. And so, yeah, I thought we were on the same page, but we weren't. And of course, I'm just kidding. I really am. Yeah, like I do have a flaw that I am a nice person, and I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to post this guy on Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook page. I'm not going to go to his house. I'm not going to, go invite his son anywhere, let them all be in peace. Like, I get it. I get the message. It's just rude. And I would have never done that. So, like I've broken up with people too,
Mm-hmm.
and of course there's karma. I've broken up with people that, maybe it wasn't the nicest thing. But I've told them I've never just like poof, like left.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what I've had to tell them has been difficult. Sometimes, I've had to tell people like, hey, I'm sorry. I really, there's somebody else. And like, I can't like go on with you. Like, I need to go on with somebody else, or that, I'm going to be moving or something like that. But those, I think a lot of people are afraid to have those difficult conversations. So, yeah, what do you think about that? That those
Well,
difficult conversations that you have to, like they say, kind of man up or adult up, step up to the plate.
when you say man up, it's going to make me think of Sex in the City again, where the lady, she had short hair and she's talking to,
Miranda, you mean Miranda?
no, the lesbian lady.
Miranda, she's the character.
Okay, I don't think it was Miranda. It was the
Oh,
lesbian lady. She has
yes,
short hair.
yes. Shay.
Yes.
Shay.
And she's telling, what is, I forget their names, perimenopause. Okay, I can't remember anything. What is the lady's name? The main lady?
Miranda.
Oh, is that
The
her name?
redhead.
No, not the redhead, the main.
Oh, Carrie.
Carrie.
Yes.
Carrie. So she's telling Carrie because she wasn't really, she was being too proper, I guess, in one of the tapings. I think they were doing a podcast.
Yes.
And she's like, pussy up. So when you say man up, it's true. Some of us women need to pussy up. But you said a lot there, Marina, and I wanted to touch on it because you said maybe you're too nice and that's a flaw. Being too nice is not being a flaw. Not being mature and getting into a relationship when you're not in a mature place and you're not technically in an overly mature relationship, and then there's a breakup, what have you, and in this case it was the gentleman breaking off with you over text. You know, the mature thing is to just move on. You're not going to go slash his tires. You're not, so I don't think there's a flaw in being nice. I wouldn't even call it being nice. For me, I would be calling it a mature, responsible adult, right? So that's the first thing that I would want to say is, why get into relationships in your 40s, 50s, or whatever if you're not at that mature level, unless and we have some friends that aren't overly mature in that aspect, and they know they need to date younger women or younger men, and that's totally fine. So meet people where you're at, but also knowing. A lot of people don't know, and that's the first problem today. And I'll include myself in this. Do you really know yourself, what you need, and what you can give in a relationship? If you don't have those answers, then go have fun. All of this, maybe you will find someone, but that's the first step. Mm-hmm. It's just like if you're an alcoholic, okay? Nothing is going to change until the first thing happens. And the first thing is not being in denial. Mm-hmm. Yeah. First you get out of denial, then you can work on the next step and the next stages. And that's anything in life, is first recognizing the things you need to work on. Are you willing to work on them? What's involved after doing research or therapy or what have you? What's involved in getting to where you need to be if you want to make those changes? It's not up to a partner or companion to do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself. It's up to the partner or companion to support you, to say, hey, how can I support you? What can I do to help you grow and to add to someone's life? It's not up to them to fix you. And if you're a person that wants to be fixed, fabulous. But then you're going to end up in a relationship with someone who wants that. I think there's a complex, and you would probably know better than me what that is called, when someone comes in and wants to be with women where they're helping them fix them. So something goes back, and we all have this. We all have stuff from our childhood, all of this. None of us are quote unquote perfect, whatever the heck that means. We all have things, but knowing what your things are, like if you're obsessive compulsive, this is not a negative. I'm not saying any of this is negative. I used to be obsessive compulsive. My sister would probably say I still am. I have my clothes all by color. Marina's going to roll her eyes. Like I have my red with my red, my black outfits with my black, and that I just like that order. So I know for me, it's probably going to cause some anxiety being with someone that doesn't. That's a complete slob. Been there, done that. I know for me, it's not going to work being with someone that's a complete slob. So yeah, don't ever say that again, Marina, that your flaw is being nice. We should be nice. We should want to be nice, not be a person though that will let others take advantage of them. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say, like, come over to my house and organize my closets. Like,
Actually, and I actually enjoy it. And if my good friend Paul is listening to this, or our good friend Paul, I've actually gone to his house and organized his pantry. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I doing this? Like, I could be investing in, a second job, investing in my son, investing in just myself. But I think being a good person, you do for other people. And I wouldn't do it for this individual if I didn't think he was going to reciprocate. And it doesn't have to be that he's coming over and cleaning. We all need to focus on what we're all good at some things. So maybe I'm good at organizing. You're like, Kathryn, can you come over and help me? Because this is just not my thing. And I can come over and I could say, Marina, I really need help, whatever, typing together this paper. Well, my expectation would be that you're actually going to help me because I helped you.
oh, yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is in relationships, this is what we're talking about, modern relationships, because we can't talk about the past. We're here today, people, so don't live in the past. We have today and moving forward. So it doesn't matter what your past is. We all have a past. We all had obstacles, trials and tribulations, trauma from the past, okay? Whether you're in denial or not in denial, what you do today and moving forward counts. So the moment that you throw the rock in the ocean, whatever it is, tell yourself, meditate, whatever it is, do you. Whatever it is that you do, go, you know what? Once that happens where you realize I'm going to move forward and not be stuck in the past, that's the first step towards getting to where you need to be. What do you think?
Yeah.
So bye-bye to this guy that sent you a text. Yes.
Yeah.
I understand. I've been where I've had heartbreak, and I think I lost girl, give me the microphone. I've lost. See, okay, what's happening here is we have the same birthdays, if you guys have been following. So it's a miracle that we've even had so many episodes because we're both, Libras. We have the same birthday. We're both, just very similar, even though we have a lot of differences.
We both know what we're talking about, and we both know the right answer all the time.
I won't say I know the right answer. And as I'm getting older, I will admit it, even though it's hard. I don't want to admit, but I think that's part of growth and maturity is being, you know what? I was wrong. What I did was wrong, and I want to help you move forward. And saying that, even in my last relationship, I did something that bothers me. And it makes me feel sad because I never thought of myself as that person. I'm not a perfect person. None of us are. We need to love ourselves a little bit more. But I am a person, even where I work with my friends in romantic relationships, I am very hard on myself. I don't know if you are. And so I don't need someone else telling me and making me feel bad about something I did. Just say, hey, what you did hurt my feelings. And that's all I need to hear. And then I need to work on myself and ask myself, why did I do this? And what can I do moving forward? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to hurt anybody's heart. I don't want to hurt anybody's life in any way. So I felt really bad. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because anytime it's brought up, it just makes me feel very, very low. And in a way, that's a positive thing. Because if it didn't make me feel any kind of way, then what, am I not human? If I'm just a person, and you probably know the term better than I do, and I will pass you the microphone. But what is it when a person just goes around and goes, I don't really care who I hurt. I don't really care. I'm all about me.
Yeah, that kind of a person would be a narcissist. And then they could also go on being borderline sociopathic, where somebody just doesn't feel empathy. So, I know exactly the situation you're talking about. And, I do give you a hard time about that. Just because I have my own opinion about how you two were a good couple and how much love there was. And there were certain elements. But then, of course, I have empathy for you sharing the elements, the future elements that you think your roads diverged on. Like, I totally get it. But yeah, of course, you have empathy for this person. And even more so, you have compassion where your heart can hurt for the fact that they're hurt. And you know what? Like, that's an element that potentially was missing from the situation. I guess it was situationship. I thought we were in a relationship, the situationship that I was in, where like this man just lacked empathy. And I even wrote him back saying like, this broke my heart. I want to talk to you. And there was just like nothing there. No. And I do have to tell you, there's always, in retrospect, there's always some red flags. And when this person had a business, they were doing really well, and I actually, looked up their business online, and they had some mixed reviews. And hey, everybody gets mixed reviews. I've been a professor for like 20 years. I've certainly gotten mixed reviews. I've gotten some great reviews. Dr. Dorian really helped me, blah blah blah, and some other ones that people like just didn't like the class. They didn't like my style. So, but I really noticed that like he really did have like some bad reviews, like on Yelp and whatever, about like, oh, not getting back to people, or like, hey, you sold me like a broken machine and you didn't do anything about it. And
Everybody has, I mean, I think Disneyland has bad reviews. And I mean, you're not going to be able, in anything in life, you're not going to be able to please everyone all the time.
yeah, well, you know what? Like, I'd like to follow up and give this guy a bad review. Like, you know what? You came in strong, and then you just like broke up over a text message after everything. Like, hey, you know what? That's like a 1 star now. Like the exit strategy was 1 star. The entrance was like 5 stars, I have to say, but the exit was 1 star.
So listening to you, I just thought of something. If we could have a dating app out there, maybe Love Liaisons will create a dating app. And you actually rate the people. Now, this could have pros and cons and go very bad.
They have that. There was a website that was called Rate My Ex. And I don't know if it still exists. I think kind of like what was that Facebook group? Are We Dating the Same Guy? Yeah, that kind of took over it. But yeah, there used to be a website called Rate My Ex, where you could rate your ex, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whoever, on all these different dimensions. I think it kind of fell by the wayside, or something else took over. But like, yeah, I think that's really valid. Like, like if I'm going to a business, I had to get my mom's car repaired. And so, yeah, I looked on Yelp to all of these places that, repair old Mercedes, or can like, give you a good deal or something, and that are honest. And you want people that have 4 or 5 star reviews. And yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it's good that people have accountability. I could see where this could go very, very in the wrong direction, but I think it's good to have accountability. And I wonder, and this is so sad to say, I wonder if we had something like this now through either a matchmaker or what have you, if people would then not treat people like this. I mean, something needs to happen for there to be a wake-up call, and that's anything in life, and I'm not going to get into what's happening in the world right now, but in anything in life, sometimes people need to have that accountability. But at the end of the day, all I can say is you had a great time with this person, and that's to focus on, that that this is how you want to feel in a relationship. And maybe if you think about it positively, maybe he will come around and call you and kind of tell you what happened and why he felt that way. Maybe he'll listen to this and realize, because we can't assume that he knows right from wrong. Your right from wrong may be different from my right and wrong. It's 2025, we're approaching 2026, and so many people out there have so many different viewpoints. Back in the 50s or what have you, and I wasn't born in the 50s, but I'm just saying, damn, I look good. No. Yeah. But what I was saying is pretty much for the most part, people understood right from wrong. They had a strong moral fiber. women had defined roles, men had defined roles. I'm not saying we should go back to that, but it's something to think about. Why are people less classy today? With the cursing and the way they're dressing, and they feel like they need to dress with this and that. And I'm not telling anybody that the way they dress is wrong or right, but like I said before, what you put out is what you're going to get back. So I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad. I'm honestly glad that you had that experience, because I bet you're going to grow from it and realize the strength that you have as a woman, and that next time you'll be more upfront, unfortunately or fortunately, and just say, hey, I'm looking for a serious relationship and this happened. And so if at any point in time in the relationship you're not feeling it for whatever the reason, please don't send me a text. Please actually give me the decency. It's sad that we have to do this, but it goes back to communication. You can't assume that the person that you're dating knows all of your thoughts after a month. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, you are right about that part, that I do tend to be a little bit more vague. When I say I'm too nice, like I don't want to change that. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be tougher. But I can definitely, make it a little clearer, like what I'm looking for myself and for the other person. And oftentimes I am a little vague. I kind of just test out the waters and go with the flow. I'm pretty flexible, and I like to kind of go with the groove, go with the flow sometimes. But, then that could take away from, what my actual future vision is. But you know what? Lastly, I wanted to say, because you asked about, like, is there an app or a website about rating people? Well, one thing that there is now that I do see on social media, like on Facebook or something, where people recommend, it's sort of like vetted dating. So people are posting their adult son, daughter, niece, nephew, their best friend, to say, like, hey, my friend Kathryn here, she's single, she's educated, she's beautiful. She really is very beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't know how well the camera can do justice, but talented, I'd recommend her. Or I could say something like, hey, you know what? It didn't work out for me dating this guy, but, I'd really recommend him for somebody who, has a lot going on her own, doesn't really need somebody to be with all the time. And you could just like describe this person. Like, we have other single male, female friends, like actually recommending this person. So there is something like that. It's not so much rating, but it's like a recommendation service. So, I think having said that, I'm curious to hear from all of you. I'd love to hear your breakup, your exit stories. Have you had your heart broken recently? Have you had any terrible breakups? Anybody break up with you over a Post-it note or a very, very short text message? Yeah, don't do that. So let us know. Follow us on Facebook at Love Liaisons, on Instagram, and our website. Look for Love Liaisons and let us know. So I don't know. I think at this point, all we can do is just kind of keep sipping,
Keep loving.
and keep laughing. So cheers for now.
Cheers.
From your Love Liaisons.
Bye.
Bye-bye.